from the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast.
Coming up on AgDay, the president outlining his national security strategy and its influence on trade. In agribusiness, South American weather and soybean prices.
But in fact, I think there's some more subtle things going on in South America. Not weather, but just government stability.
Our dairy report looks at the latest milk price forecast from USDA and keeping kids healthy in underserved communities.
AgDay, presented by the Chevy Silverado. High-strength steel for high-strength dependability.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. President Trump's tough stance on trade deals is becoming more evident this morning as the White House unveils the president's national security strategy. Domestic, economic, and trade policies are at the very core of the president's security plan. The national security strategy is mandated by Congress to explain the president's vision of national security and what he will do to put it into practice. President Trump's strategy has 4 pillars, which include protect the homeland, its citizens, and the American way of life, and promote American prosperity, preserve peace through strength, and advance American influence. And according to the president, it's that 4th theme of advancing American influence, which includes negotiating fair trade deals with other countries.
It calls for trade based on the principles of fairness and reciprocity. It calls for firm action against unfair trade practices and intellectual property theft. And it calls for new steps to protect our national security, industrial, and innovation base.
The president putting emphasis on confronting unfair trade practices. He's especially critical of China and Russia for trying to undermine U.S. security and prosperity through the cybersphere. Administration leaders continuing to tout a surging U.S. economy. The New York Federal Reserve raising its latest estimate of U.S. fourth quarter GDP. The bank edging the economic benchmark to 3.98%, just a tick shy of 4% growth. GDP hasn't topped 4% since the third quarter of 2014. On the agricultural side, the Farm Credit Administration releasing a quarterly report on financial conditions. USDA forecasting a rise of farm income from $93.3 billion in 2016 to $96.9 billion in 2017. Due to diversification in livestock and higher cash receipts because of it. However, the forecast much different for grain farmers who are expected to see lower cash receipts for most crops. Despite a growing cattle herd, some analysts say producers won't feel the price pinch at the beginning of this next year.
First quarter, I'm thinking prices back to that 120, 125 level. I'm really still pretty optimistic for a spring high next year, something in the 130 to 135 level for a spring high.
Close says he expects a price dip for cattle next fall, potentially due to heavier weights and a capacity surge at slaughterhouse. Now, the report also raising concerns about whether farmers have enough liquidity to cover farm expenses and pay loans. The tax reform vote could come as early as today, and it appears support is in place, which is especially critical on the Senate side. Farm Journal Washington correspondent Jim Wiesmeyer says the vote is on the House schedule for today, and the measure could be voted on as early as today on the Senate side. Arizona Senator John McCain will miss the vote as he returns home for cancer treatment. One provision of the new plan drawing sharp criticism, however, is the deduction for personal losses from natural disasters such as wildfires. Now, according to our reporting partners from Drovers, that deduction would be eliminated unless the event is a federally declared disaster. Currently, uninsured losses to disasters such as wildfire, tornado, earthquakes are deductible when the loss amount exceeds 10% of adjusted gross income. Hurricanes Harvey and Irma have such designation, but the wildfires last March that hit the Central Plains did not receive that federal designation, so farmers and ranchers in those states cannot use the personal loss deduction. In other news, Bayer's planned takeover of Monsanto getting another hurdle. The European Commission issuing a formal objection to the $66 billion bid. Now, this comes from Politico. The report suggesting the deal could be blocked unless more significant concessions are made. The Commission has until March 5th to reach a final decision. Now, it can block mergers or demand divestments by the companies. Bayer's already announced several divestments, including selling its Liberty Link business in order to appease regulators. Many airports have problems dealing with bird strikes, but the one in America's farthest north community is having issues lately with marine mammals. 2 polar bears found their way onto a runway at Utgarvik Airport, the town formerly known as Barrow. They ran off when they saw a runway inspector's truck and lights. Now, in October, a bearded seal wandered onto the runway. Apparently, airport personnel are not authorized to haze or chase the protected marine mammals. Now, Mike Hoffman is out today, but Cindy Clausen is keeping an eye on farm country for us and joins us with today's crop comments. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning, Clinton. Here's something you don't see on every farm. Brian Anderson sent us this picture of Amish corn picking in western Minnesota. You can see they use horses and iron wheels on their machinery for harvest. Also, take a look at this sunrise. James Lieb in Morse, Texas sent us this picture. Now, a view like this sure beats the colder weather ahead. Well, we'll take a look at your national forecast coming up in just a few minutes, but for now, here are some hometown temps.
Farm Journal On Air is the go-to app for American agriculture. AgDay, AgriTalk, U.S. Farm Report, and more. 24/7 access to all of your favorite shows, TV and radio. In your hands, on demand. Farm Journal On Air. Download the app today.
All right, when we come back, we'll discuss soybean markets and the impact of weather in South America, plus helping kids from impoverished areas of the country improve their bodies and minds.
AgDay, brought to you by the Enlist Weed Control System. More weed control, less drift and volatility, maximum yield potential.
In Markets Monday, traders working to position themselves ahead of the final days of 2017. Let's see how things close from the floor of the CME over in Chicago.
Today in soybeans, they fell. The rain in Argentina really brought in the selling and pressed this market lower. The market really broke below the January 967 support level, and we broke all the way down to 957. It really brought in a new wave of selling. I think that we can expect more volatility as we move towards the end of the year. There's each day the volume's a little bit lower, but you can see that the liquidation came after that USDA report back on December 12th, and it didn't look back. Once the market broke under that support level, it really pushed it lower. Wheat was also on the rise today, which was kind of interesting. There's a little short-term bullish like kind of recovery pattern right now. It's been up for the 4th day in a row, and you know, wheat was really suffering from an oversold situation. I know that there's been some concerns about some dryness in some of the wheat belt areas, but overall the world wheat stocks are really huge, and the U.S. it's been very difficult to be competitive around the world. That's all from the floor at the CME Group. Here in Chicago, I'm Virginia McGathy.
Here at the Agribusiness Desk today, we have Elaine Cubb, author of Mastering the Grain Markets. Elaine, as we talk about soybeans, all I've heard from folks over the last few weeks is watch Argentina, watch Argentina, watch Argentina. What do you see bigger picture beyond South American weather?
Yeah, this is the time of the year when this should be a weather market, and that should be what's driving the day-to-day prices. But in fact, I think there's some more subtle things going on in South America, not weather, but just government stability. So Brazil, for instance, should be doing some pension reform, but day to day, as the prospects for that come and go, we see the Brazilian currency have a lot of volatility lately, and that day-to-day drives the direction of the soybean markets that we've been seeing. And that currency fell at the end of this past week to less than 30 cents. So we did see soybeans slide lower and lower. Interesting, interesting. Beyond that, are there any other markets that play in the same kind of oil category as soybeans that could be influencing us? Absolutely, and especially in a La Nina year, there should be very strong correlation between the prospects for palm oil, global edible oils led by palm oil, which has been skydiving, like just rocketing lower 16% since the beginning of November. Wow. So that is absolutely weighing on our soybean futures prices. Okay, so as we turn the corner into a new year, into 2018, are there market indicators you're watching for as we move soybeans into January? Obviously, weather's going to be a key. Absolutely. South American weather, this is the time of the year when we should be watching that, and all of the prospects for La Nina will keep that a story in play. If you can get that edible oils to stabilize, those prices to stabilize, if you could get the Brazilian government to stabilize, then I think we absolutely would have a potential for soybeans to trade their own story and hopefully move a little higher. All right. Well, it is an interesting story to watch, and I appreciate you being here and filling us in. We'll be back with more Ag Day in just a minute.
For more marketing advice, you can find Elaine's book, Mastering the Grain Markets: How Profits Are Really Made, on Amazon and elsewhere. AgDay, brought to you by Top Third Ag Marketing. Farmer first with a plan for every market.
Welcome back to Ag Day. Here with Cindy Clausen, looking at the weather map for this week as folks get ready to head out on Christmas vacation. Of course, it depends on where you're traveling and what day, but there is some stuff on the map.
Yeah, we have three main areas that we're really watching, kind of the northeast, the northwest, and the south central United States. Let's take a look at the map. And you can see that we have three main systems that are going on. We've got a front that's moving through the Great Lakes. That's going to be affecting the northeastern part of the country. A system that's going to be coming up from northeastern Mexico. That's going to be a big rain producer for parts of the central Gulf Coast states. And we're going to see some rain and higher elevation snow in the northwest. Let's put this into motion, and you'll see those main three areas, especially this one in the southern plains and into the central Gulf Coast states. That's going to be bringing some heavy rain to spots, even some thunder as well. Again, rain and upper elevation snow in the northwest. Let me get out of the way so you can see everything, because it's kind of a busy map there. But again, the two heavier precipitation makers are the one in the southeast and the one in the northwest as well. This is Wednesday morning. If you are in the Tennessee, Ohio Valley, you're going to be starting to see some of that rain moving your way and heading on over to parts of the mid-Atlantic and into the southeast. This low pressure system starts to settle into the central plains. So we're going to be looking at some snow for parts of the northern plains, upper Midwest, and into the Intermountain West. Now let's take a look at how things are shaping up precipitation wise. You can see we are looking at some pretty decent rain for parts of eastern Texas into Arkansas, parts of Louisiana, and into Mississippi as well, and then also all the way over to the east coast. It's going to be rain and snow in the northwest, and we're going to be seeing some fairly decent amounts. Rain not quite so heavy in the northeast, and some of that will be in the form of snow as well. Here's your snowfall estimate. It's been heavy already in parts of the northwest, and we're just going to be adding to that. So we're going to be looking at multiple inches of snow, especially in those higher elevations in the northwest. And we will see some lighter snow, but in some spots it could be piling up in the far northeastern United States. Taking a look at temperatures, well, we've been on the warm side for the past couple of days with kind of zonal flow in that jet stream. We're going to continue to see 40s and 50s in much of the nation's midsection, 60s and 70s for most areas down south. Into the overnight hours we go, and it's going to be a little bit on the chilly side as you get down into northern Texas. A lot of 50s and 60s in the southeast, starting to see some teens and 20s in the northern tier of states. And then your highs for tomorrow, we're going to be seeing a lot of 50s and 60s, but generally similar conditions as far as temperatures are concerned as we head into tomorrow. That's a look at your national forecast. Now let's check out the weather where you live. Chester, Montana, breezy today with snow likely and a high of 29 degrees. Warren, Arkansas, rain is likely for you, maybe some thunderstorms as well, a high of 66 degrees. And Perry, Florida, mostly cloudy. Look for some fog in the morning.
There's a national Christmas tree shortage, and it may be due to the recession. NPR is saying that's because a decade ago, during the start of the recession, Christmas tree growers chose to plant fewer trees for a myriad of reasons. Those trees would just now be coming to market. The price of a Christmas tree has doubled since 2008, and the National Christmas Tree Association says the average retail value for a fresh cut tree was nearly $75 in 2016.
The way I understand it, I talked to some West Coast growers out there, and during the 2008 economic shutdown type deal, at that time there was actually a glut of trees, and when you have a glut of trees, you're not planting more. And with the financial situation the way it was, a lot of them just quit planting. I mean, through age or financial or whatever, well, now it's showing up.
Silent Night Evergreen Tree Farms in Endeavor, Wisconsin says they typically ship most of their trees to the Midwest. This year, they've sent trees over the Rockies to Colorado because of those short supplies. Now we'll learn more about the Silent Night Farm and an honor they received this season next Monday on our Christmas in the Country special. Join me and Tyne Morgan as we travel the countryside to celebrate the season of giving. From classic decorations at one of the nation's oldest towns to teaming up with Rudolph's cousins at this reindeer ranch in North Dakota, it's a show the entire family can enjoy. Join us Christmas morning for Christmas in the Country. All right, still to come today on the show, our dairy report is next, including the latest USDA forecast for milk prices in 2018. And when budgets are tight, physical education often feels the tightening purse strings. We'll see some creative waves around that shortage later on Ag Day.
Ag Day, brought to you by Liberty Herbicide, the simply better solution for superior weed control and a stronger yield.
In the dairy report, the industry continuing to face headwinds as 2017 comes to a close. A December supply and demand report from USDA not giving much good news for 2018 either. USDA revising Class 3 and Class 4 price forecasts downward in the new year. Economists there saying continued pressure from large stocks and lower than expected demand is behind that drop. Its all milk price forecast for 2018 was lowered as well to between $16.65 and $17.45 per hundredweight. Now, as far as good news goes, the agency did lower its production forecast in the new year on slower growth in milk per cow and slowing herd number growth. Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue announcing USDA is withdrawing from a controversial proposed organic rule. The Organic Livestock and Poultry Practices Rule would have added provisions to livestock care, handling, and transport to slaughter. Now, some livestock groups, such as the National Pork Producers Council, applauding the NICS, saying standards were not based on science. NPPC also saying new rules would have added to the organic certification process, creating challenges to new and existing organic producers. USDA claims the proposed regulation would have exceeded the agency's authority. Now, that announcement is expected to come with a public comment period. All right, coming up, a program that's gaining nationwide momentum, and it's helping students in underserved communities strengthen their bodies and their minds.
Receive a free trial of the Daily Grain Plan newsletter from Roach Ag Marketing. Text Roach to 31313. Start your subscription today by texting Roach to 31313.
In the Country, sponsored by Kubota. Discover the power behind the M6 series at Kubota.com or visit your local Kubota dealer today.
1 in 5 school-aged children are now considered obese, and many communities, large and small, simply don't have the resources to effectively combat this major public health crisis. And in underserved communities, school physical education budgets continue to be cut. But there is a program that is working to change that. In this report provided by UCLA Health, Barb Consiglio shows us a program that's producing results.
It's my new record.
8th grader Priscilla Aguinaga is spinning her way toward her goals, one ride at a time.
In the beginning, I wasn't able to stay on for as long, and then after a while, I started gaining power and staying on longer, and I felt great.
She found that motivation by learning how to use equipment and finding physical activities she enjoys in the UCLA Health Sound Body, Sound Mind program, an initiative in underserved communities that's working to combat the growing problem of childhood obesity.
When we look at decades of change over the last 50 years, it's dramatic. And it's extremely troubling, it's unhealthy, it has health consequences that are negative. It's something that we'd like to combat in any way possible.
The program targets low-income schools where physical education budgets are shrinking.
Good work. You're already breaking a sweat.
Executive Director Matthew Fleesock says the program donates the equipment and trains the teachers to implement the program and motivate their students to make physical fitness a part of their everyday lives.
I think our goal is that students will feel confident and inspired to live a more active and healthy life. That's what we want. We want them to learn at an early age.
On average, students at schools with the program see a 25% increase in fitness test pass rates after 8 weeks in the program. At Priscilla's school, nearly 4 times the number of students were able to pass the California State fitness test after 8 weeks. But Fleesock says these students are gaining more than just fitness. They're also gaining the confidence to build healthier futures.
If you can get a student to improve the perception of their fitness level or the perception of their body image, that's just as important of a result.
I think I feel proud because I feel like I gained strength in myself.
At UCLA Health, this is Barb Consiglio reporting.
The UCLA Health Sound Body, Sound Mind program started in Los Angeles almost 20 years ago. It has grown to 121 schools in California, 10 schools in 3 other states, and impacts more than 160,000 students each year. Now, schools across the country can use the program as a model to implement wellness programs in their own communities. That's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. Start your day with us. For Cindy Clausen and all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day.
AgDay, brought to you by Ram Commercial, America's longest-lasting heavy-duty pickups.